Let's say that I want to put a teapot on top of this box. One way you can do that is by creating a user grid. And this is similar to a user coordinate system or UCS in AutoCAD, if you're familiar with that. I'm on the Create tab here of the command panel, and I'll go to the helpers type of object and click on Grid. I'll drag out a grid over here, and it doesn't really matter how big it is, it just represents a plane. I'd like to move that up on top of the box. So I'll select the box and go to the Modify panel. In this simple example, the box has a height of 2 feet. So I'll reselect the grid object and move it to a height of 2 feet in the Z coordinate. Notice that the grid lines now appear on the top surface of the box. You can perceive that better if I arc rotate. Objects are created on the active grid. So now, in order to create that teapot, all I have to do is draw it, and it will appear on the top of the box. Now let's say I want to go back and create another primitive on the original ground level. Well, that would be called the home grid. And you can get there by selecting your grid object and right-clicking, and then you say Activate Home Grid, and the grid goes back down here. This is equivalent to the world coordinate system, and it's the coordinate system or grid that you started with when you opened the program. This user grid object is still here, however, and we can reuse it later on. So let's say I create another primitive over here, and it's on the home grid, so its bottom surface is flush with the bottom surface of the box. Okay, now I've changed my mind again, and I want to create another primitive on the top surface of the box. I can do that by selecting the home grid, right-clicking, and then choose Activate Grid over here on the Tools 1 quad. Then I can go ahead and create something, and it will appear on the top surface of the box. In this case, I made the tube downward to demonstrate that you can create the creation plane is on the grid, but that doesn't mean that your object has to go up from there. You can create as many user grids as you want to help you in the modeling process. And you can easily go back to the home grid at any time. Another tip I have is you can hide the helper objects if they become distracting in your scene. Go to the Display tab and hide all the helpers like this. It doesn't delete the objects, they're merely hidden, and you can always uncheck this to gain access to your grid objects.